The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Dolly Vision streaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness, like, share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King the Beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on their light. Topping up, Dolly Vision streaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness, like, share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King the Beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light.
What is up, YouTube? It is Dolly back in the house again today. Okay, we're talking the Jack and Lilly Sullivan case today. All right. So as you see in the title, it says Rcmp dropped the ball, and we're going to talk about that today. But first, I'm going to need you guys to leave your DNA if you're just coming in on the like button, okay? Just in case you go missing and I got to send the Canadian Mounted Police looking for you, I'm going to need your DNA on file, okay? So that means elbow it, drop kick it, headbutt it. I don't care as long as you hit the damn like button, okay? Also, we're like 200 people away from 65,000 subscribers. Oh my God, that is a lot of damn people that watch my ugly face. Okay, that's a lot of people. So if you're out there and you ain't subbed up yet, go ahead, sub the channel, help us reach that 65. Then when I reach 100,000, you can be like, Dolly, I was here with you when nobody was watching you at 65,000 people. Okay, and I'll be like, damn. Okay, I need you. I need you guys, okay? I can't do it without your help, right? I can only sub up once. I'd have one subscriber if it wasn't for you guys. So sub up, ring the bell for notifications. Feel free to share my ugly face everywhere, okay? Everywhere you can think of to share an ugly face. Uglyfaces.com, farmersonly.com. I don't care. Just share it somewhere if you're cool. If you ain't cool, then don't share my face. I only want cool people sharing this ugliness, okay? You got to be cool to share ugly. Okay, so today we're talking about, did the Rcmp drop the ball in the Jack and Lilly Sullivan case? Now, I'm going to tell you my opinion on that before I get into it. I would say yes, they dropped the ball. They absolutely have dropped the ball and have kicked it out of bounds, okay? They dropped the ball, kicked it, slammed into the bleachers. What is going on? Why ain't there answers in this case? Why hasn't there been an arrest? Why hasn't there been an Amber Alert? Oh my God. Oh my God. So before we get into that, I want to give my warnings because apparently the Canadians like to put people in jail for talking about things they don't want them talking about. Okay. So Dolly Vision is for entertainment purposes only. We're here to entertain. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories, mixed with a little bit of comedy and a whole lot of chaos. Okay, there's some chaos in there. You gotta watch for it though. It comes and goes. I done forgot what I was gonna say. But a whole lot of chaos. So don't take nothing here as fact. Okay, it's just my opinion, people. Completely satire. The caller's opinions today are theirs and theirs alone, not to reflect on the Dolly. Okay, thank you for joining. You can become a sub too, just like that. You get a nice little hand wave. The caller's opinions are theirs and theirs alone, not to reflect on me. So don't get me sued, people. Everyone is innocent to proving guilty in a court of law. And today we're discussing the Sullivan family. So all these people, guys, are innocent into proven guilty. Well, not according to YouTube. Really, on YouTube, you're guilty to proven innocent. It's kind of how it works. And, you know, the public, once the public says you did it, it's kind of tough. But in reality, innocent to proven guilty. And the biggest one, the biggest, huge. If you violate every other rule, if you violate every 10 commandment, okay, do not break this one. This should be the 11th commandment. Don't try to be Dolly at home, okay? It is dangerous. And if I just blew your eardrum out, I'm absolutely sorry. It's my Tourette's. Don't judge me, people, okay? Don't be talking about my disabilities. Anyway, you know, did the Rcmp drop the ball? I would say yes, they did. You know, in certain cases, I think, you know, especially extreme danger cases, I think that's enough right there to issue an Amber Alert. Okay. We've seen Amber Alerts issued nationally in the United States for way less things. Okay. Prime example, we've been talking about a case right before this one, the Sebastian Rogers case. 15-year-old male. Okay. I'm gonna give y'all some new news and what they're saying in just a second. I'm getting to it, Kim. I'm getting to it. All right. Don't rush me, woman. Okay. Don't rush me. Now you made me forget what I was gonna say. Damn you, Kim. But thank you for your super chat. Okay. I remembered that. Did they drop the ball? Okay. You know, they didn't issue an Amber Alert. And you know, in certain cases here in the country, we issue national Amber Alerts. Sebastian Rogers, he was 15 years old. He was on the spectrum. He went missing, no signs of abduction, and they issued an Amber Alert, right? Here in Canada, they did issue some alerts, you know, a county-wide alert just for that area that Jack and Lilly Sullivan went missing, but they didn't issue a national alert across Canada saying these kids were missing, right? Which, you know, when you're 6 years old and 4 years old, what did I say, 10? Because I believe when you're under 10 and you go missing, you are in extreme danger. Okay. Anything could happen to you. You could get ran over by a car, you know, somebody, unfortunately, Cable, thank you, kidnap you, or somebody SA you, or anything could happen, right? You could get attacked by an animal, just different. There's a million ways to die. I hate to say that, but there is. Remember the show, A Million Ways to Die? So I believe right in the beginning of this, they didn't take it as serious as they should have, and they should have issued this Amber Alert. That's the first place I think they dropped the ball. What does it hurt? It's just a fucking alert, right? Like, listen, my phone goes off all the time from telemarketers call me all the time trying to sell me timeshares and extended car warranty. I know, listen, if I bought every extended car warranty that my phone rings for, my car would be, it would last forever. It would last forever, right? So my phone goes off all the time over some bullshit. So what does it matter if it goes off over something important? I think everybody out here, if you asked and you said, are missing kids important? They would tell you, yes. Okay. Well, do you mind getting an Amber Alert on your phone? They would probably say, no, I don't mind. I mean, if my kid went missing, I would want that alert to go out, right? So when there's cases of extreme danger, which, you know, like I said, a child under 10 years old, when you start getting into the teen years, listen, it's just as important. Teenagers are just as important. But a lot of times, them teenagers just run away. They go stay with their friends. They know how to go get water and food and can pretty much survive on their own in them teenage years. But when you're 10 and under, it's a little less likely that you're able to do these things. So I think one thing across the board, and this is probably all of North America, we need to change the standards of Amber Alerts. You know, usually they only issue an Amber Alert when there's extreme danger, which if you're a kid, well, welcome on the Blessed Express. Okay, get you a nice seat, all you guys. Come on aboard, buckle up. You know it can get bumpy here. This ride may get a little shaky. Okay, keep your arms and hands inside the cart at all times. You don't want to lose a limb here on Dolly Vision. Okay, it's dangerous. Okay, it's dangerous. It's a bumpy ride. It's bumpy, but you'll have fun if you survive. If you survive, it'll be a good time. You'll be like, yo, I want to ride that shit again. Okay. So that's the first place I think they dropped the ball, is really on this Amber Alert. Okay. Because it don't hurt. You know, what's it going to hurt to put this out? Nothing. People's phones are going to ring. Either they're going to mute it or they're going to read it. They're going to pay attention to it and they're going to look. That's it. It ain't no harm, no foul, right? No harm, no foul. The second place I think they dropped the ball, and this is where I think they kicked it into the bleachers. When the stepfather was out there saying, hey, I'll take a lie detector test. You know what you do? You put him in a police car. You drive him down to the police station. You hook him up to a polygraph and you let him talk. The more he wants to talk, the better. Okay. The more he wants to talk, the better. Now, another place I think they dropped the ball is when the mother didn't want to talk. Okay. You don't want to talk. She's saying that the police have told her not to talk. Well, why? It's a long ride. It's Kim. All right, Kim. You're giving me a hard time today, Kim. I thought we were cool. I thought we were buddies, BFF, Thunder buddies. Okay. I thought we were down for life. Okay. Down for life. That's what I thought, Kim. You're getting at me today. Okay. So listen, the mother didn't want to talk. She gave one interview, and then, you know, the family started to state, well, the police don't want us to talk. When in an investigation does the police don't want the prime suspects to talk? I thought that was the point of everything. It's for these people to talk. Just like the stepdad, you want him talking as much as he can talk. All right. I'm going to give y'all a prime example of this. All right. The Michael Monkey Vaughn case. The people they suspected of hurting Michael Monkey Vaughn, you know, I hate people that abuse children or hurt children. So this person that was accused of hurting Michael Monkey Vaughn was online. And I went at him. I called him every name you could humanly call a person. Okay. Because he's, to me, is a piece of trash and always will be. And the man disgusts me. All right. Okay. But anyway, y'all people, y'all Canadians are impatient. Okay, y'all. I thought Americans were impatient. I don't know if you're from Canada, Jay, but I'm just thinking you are. Okay, buckle up. I wanted to say this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now, when the mother didn't talk, they should have took her down there, gave her a lie detector test, right? We want these people talking as much as they can. So when I was attacking the person that had done what I believe was done to Michael Monkey Vaughn, people hit me up and said, Dolly, please stop. And this is family members, right? We understand you don't like the guy. We don't like the guy either. But we need this man talking as much as he can. So everybody that can get him to talk, we want him to talk, because when you talk, you say inconsistent statements. You may slip up and drop some evidence into the case, right? Which is true, right? And then I got what they wanted. So I even brought the person up here on this channel, even though I hated him. Okay. I brought him up here and was really nice to him to keep him talking. You know, I made it like we had things in common just to get him to talk, because the more these people talk, the more chances we got that they're going to slip up and say something. So the police are not going to go to these people and say, don't talk. They want them doing interviews. They want them talking. So when they interrogate them, they go, well, in this interview.
Had an accident. My 14-year-old pitched me a bone, needless to say. Broken nose and black eye and stitches. Where's to say babies? Heart soothing witchy.
Absolutely. Where's the babies? And I'm going to go ahead and kick into this new information, and then I will rant a little bit. But this is more stuff about, speculation on the internet and how it could help or hurt a case. Okay. Now, I believe what we do here helps cases because we bring a lot of awareness to it. And we also let you know that we believe these people are suspicious, but we don't have proof that they committed any crime. Now, not only, before I get into this, should they have took him instantly down to the police station for a lie detector test, right? But they should have took her down to the police station for a polygraph test. They also should have took Daniel's brother down there for a polygraph test. Also his mother. Everybody that's on that property should have been put in the individual rooms and should have been asked questions for shit. They should have been asking questions for the last 15 days, right? We're going on week 3 of these children missing with no answers. All right, let's jump into this video with the latest update on the case, and we will go over some more things. All right.
In Nova Scotia is now in its 3rd week. Nova Scotia Rcmp say they are determining their next steps after another ground and air search for 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan took place over the weekend. The siblings went missing from their Lansdowne Station home May 2nd, and police say they have found zero trace of what happened to these 2 children. For more on where the investigation stands this morning, we're joined from Midland, Ontario by Chris Lilly, public safety analyst and former OPP commissioner. Good morning.
Good morning.
We'll remember the press conference where the police called off a portion of their search for Lilly and Jack on Sunday evening. What could that indicate where this investigation stands as of today?
Well, when they made that call to downscale the search, at that point they made statements that they didn't believe the children would still be alive, which was somewhat concerning because it hadn't been that long at that point. Of course, it has gone much longer now. They are continuing some searching, but it appears that they're weighing more heavily on the investigative side of this, which of course they're not going to really talk about, given the trying to protect the integrity of that investigation. But they seem to be focusing more on that than actually trying to recover the children, which of course I'm sure they still will, because regardless of whether they're alive or dead at this point, it's awful to even say that, they certainly do want to recover the remains of the kids.
People are going back over this timeline, as our police, as part of their investigation. Lilly and Jack were first reported missing May the 2nd, and then a nonstop multi-agency search began on the very same day. Then on May 7th, police scaled back that investigation and added that the chances of the children being alive, as you just mentioned, were very low. Then after that, May 17th and 18th, there's this renewed ground and air search of Lansdowne Station. That didn't find any evidence. Tell us what that means about the scope of this investigation. Is it narrowing in on something?
I think what it means really is that the RCMP know more about this than we do, which is
I would think that too. And let me tell you this. I see that we got 335 likes on this video. 335. There's 1,000 people in the room, and only 335 of you guys have took 1 second to help Dolly and algorithm. Okay. Hit the like button for me, people. Take a second. It's absolutely free this week. I'm not going to charge you anything, right? I'll let you hit the like button right now for absolutely free. And then once you hit the like button, I need 2 favors from you. I need you to hit the like button. And then once you do that, I need you to shout out where you're watching from. I want to see where you beautiful people are today. How many beautiful Canadians we have in here. How many of my brothers and sisters from the States. I need to see. And my Dolly gang worldwide. All right.
totally understandable. The RCMP are good at this sort of thing. I mean, they've been conducting huge searches and conducting major investigations for a long, long time. So we have to rely on them and the fact that they know what they're doing. They're led by their investigation. I'm sure they're following evidence and deciding where to go and what to do based on that, as well as tips and other things that they're receiving. But, the speculation in the community and on social media is just crazy, pointing fingers at all sorts of people, which may have had nothing to do with this. So we really have to let the Rcmp continue doing what they do well.
Chris, I want to ask you about that because people watching this morning have probably read some of those social media posts. And you're right. They, in an information vacuum, I have learned that people begin to fill it in with their own detective work and their own sleuthing and trying to put together clues on their own. What kind of a challenge does that kind of attention bring to a case like this?
Well, it certainly brings attention to it, and bringing attention to it at times isn't a bad thing because it may generate some tips from the public. But, it's really a lot of pushing the Rcmp into a corner in terms of trying to get them to say X or Y about who they suspect or what they suspect. And that's not fair to them. They just need to be able to do what they do. Without that sort of pressure on them. At the same time, it's putting pressure on people because, folks.
Okay, I got to say, hell nah. We are putting that pressure on the police. We deserve answers. Listen, the police are paid by the people, okay? They're paid by the people. I don't know exactly how the police in Canada work, to be honest. But tax money here in the States pay our police department, okay? We deserve transparency. We deserve some answers. We deserve to know things, right? I don't know what goes on in Canada, but here we expect a little transparency in a case. We put pressure on the police, not because we want to harm the police, but we want the police to know that we are concerned and we want them to do everything they humanly possibly can do and more, or we're going to be on their ass. Okay, we expect results from the police, right? And as a community member of any community, you should expect the same thing, right? If you know what they say, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. Okay, if you can't take the heat, if you can't take the pressure, maybe you shouldn't be a cop. Okay. With great powers come great responsibilities, and one of those responsibilities is taking the pressure from the public, being able to handle it, and still do your job. Okay, I just want to throw that out there.
Folks are saying, well, when she said this, when he said that, they're pointing fingers, and it may be towards very innocent people. So in fairness to them and the Rcmp, that we just need to back off on that and let things happen.
One of the things, Chris, that comes up as well is the fact that if this story perhaps had happened in a bigger center, one of the major, Montreal, Calgary, Toronto, Vancouver, this would be a story that would be headlines every day. 2 young children disappeared without a trace, a massive investigation, yet it doesn't seem to have that kind of attention here in Canada. Is it because of the smaller community? Like, what would your insight to that be?
Well, I think it would be this because of the smaller community. As we know, the news cycle and the number of news outlets in a place like the Greater area are just, so much bigger and more powerful than the smaller arm in the Eastern Canada. So that certainly is part of it. Down there, I know people in Nova Scotia that, they're very, very touched by this.
Yeah.
But there's a pretty small population there comparatively. So it doesn't seem to be receiving the same amount of interest, which is sad in many.
It is, right? Because you know what Nova Scotia has? It has the backing of YouTube. Even though they're small in population, they are massive here on YouTube, and we got Nova Scotia's back. Okay. So we're going to make sure that we keep the pressure, that we make these police work their ass off and overtime to bring us answers for this case. We won't accept no answers, right? That's what they need to know. We want damn answers, and we want them now. We don't want them 6 months from now. We want to know what happened to these kids. We want the people that done something to these kids held responsible. If them kids ain't in them woods, them kids didn't run away. Okay, if them kids didn't run away, then somebody on that property knows what happened to those kids, or there's been a kidnapping and you need to treat it like a kidnapping. Right now, y'all are treating it like, I don't know what you're doing, right? Because I just don't know, because there's no transparency.
many ways, and in reality in others, I suppose.
Chris, what are you watching for in the next couple days?
Well, I'm waiting for the Rcmp to make some sort of an announcement that they've either located the children or they've made an arrest. I mean, they're really looking at the who, what, where, when around all of this and following tips and leads. And I think that big piece of that is a big machine that's happening without us seeing it. And that's the way it should be. But I think we'll hear something from them in the days to come.
Chris Lewis, CTV public safety analyst and former OPP commissioner. Always great to have your insights. Thank you.
Okay. So that is the latest, right? That there really isn't much. Okay. They're waiting on the police. The police need, lately the police have seemed to be more mad at the people of social media than whoever has done what to Jack and Lilly. Is that frustration? Like, oh, we don't got nothing. Let's take our frustration out on innocent people, right? We didn't kidnap Jack or Lilly. We didn't hurt Jack or Lilly. Why take your anger out on the people that are helping spread awareness of this around the world? Listen, y'all didn't even issue a fucking Amber Alert. There's people in your own country that don't even know these kids are missing. Okay. Y'all are actually saying in Canada that these kids are not getting the press that they should. We waited for an update the other day. We thought a big update was going to come, and they really gave like a 15-second, 30-second update on these kids. You would think this would be the biggest news in Canada. 2 little kids, 4 and 6 years old, go missing. This shit would be all over CNN. Everything out here in America, we would be all over this. Okay. We're all over. You let one blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid go missing, and it's a fucking uproar. I mean, the whole country goes wild, like, oh, hell no, not a blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid, right? We treat that shit totally different. Yeah. You would have every news agency. You'd have people camping out in front of their house. You have people protesting, raising hell, demanding answers out in front of the police station. We got to pick it up a little bit, Canada. We got to pick it up. That's one kid. Imagine having 2 go missing simultaneously. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Right? It would be an uproar. It'd be crazy. The internet would be blowing up. I mean, slowly, the internet is picking it up. True crime people are starting to pick it up. The story's gaining more steam. And that's why I tell you guys to share the videos so much. Because when some of these bigger channels start talking about things, the smaller channels start talking about things. And you go, well, it's a small channel, but they have a reach that we don't have. Different people may have subbed them up that didn't sub Dolly up. So it starts to spread. Even if they got 10,000 subscribers or 5,000 subscribers, it adds up. And before long, the whole country knows about these kids missing, especially the true crime community. Now, the true crime community is only so big. So I always try to get outside people that are not in the true crime to share some of these things, because that's a whole different audience. Usually, everybody in true crime knows about it. So they think everybody in the country knows about it, but they don't. Everybody's not into true crime. Like if I knocked on my neighbor's door and said, hey, do you know who Summer Wells is? They'd be like, nah, dude, get away from my door. Do you know who Sebastian Rogers is? Nah, get away from my door. So, yeah, and they definitely wouldn't know about Jack and Lilly, because everybody's not into true crime. So we get this perception that, well, everybody knows about this case, right? Because every true crime channel you go to is talking about it. But everybody don't watch true crime. That's why it's so important to continue to share these people's face, because these people in the beginning, they didn't treat it like a kidnapping. But they say we can't rule out anything. Well, why ain't they sharing these photos, telling people to share the photos? Why ain't there more involvement when this could possibly be an abduction, right? And listen, I don't really believe in the lie detector test, okay? I don't believe there's no way to tell when you're lying. But what it does do is give you a reason to get these people down to the police station, to get them separated, get them nervous, and try to break one of them. Okay. All you need, and there's 4 people on this property. All you need is one person to talk. Once that first piece of the puzzle is removed, the rest of them will just fall out of place. It'll just all come crumbling down. It's like a house of cards. You pull one card out, that whole house is going to crumble, and the people responsible for this would be in jail, and we would have answers. There's so many huge red flags. We went over red flags last night. I mean, I got tired of saying how many red flags that there are. And I'm thinking, listen, these people are so suspicious, but yet the police don't have nothing that they're telling us about. Thank you for being a member for 9 months. Good afternoon, Nova Scotia, Canada. Okay. Yeah, man, you've been here with us 9 months too. Right. So you were here before the kids went missing. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here with us. We need our police to do better, especially in these missing kid cases. Listen, you can slip up on other things. You can F up other cases. But when it gets down to these kids, that's when we need the best of the best. And listen, if Canada, if you can't handle it, right, or Nova Scotia, the police department there can't handle it, you need to call in other people. Like, you know, especially like here in America, we got our police, right? And then, of course, we have the FBI, we have the CIA, we have like the TBI, or, you know, the state's investigation. State investigation. So you'd have your state police, you'd have your local police, you'd have your FBI, you have Secret Service sometimes get involved with these missing kid cases because they have ways to location and satellite and things, top secret kind of things that the general public don't need to know about, that they use to try to determine was there a vehicle in the area, you know, things like that. So sometimes we even bring in the Secret Service into missing kid cases. Now, we have some agencies that do be felon here in America. Like we have the TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, right? But every state has one of those. Like we have the Virginia Bureau of Investigations. They have the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. Sometimes these ain't ran by the best people, the greatest detectives. Listen, you know, it's just like if you go to your job right now and you look around. Some people in there are really good at doing their job. Like they got it. They're locked in. They know what they're doing. You ain't got to teach them nothing. They're great at what they do. And then there's some people that probably shouldn't even have a fucking job. Let's be honest. Okay. That shouldn't even be there. Don't know what they're. Well, some of these places are ran by people like that. Now, of course, the places that are ran by good people, good investigators, do good, you know, research and sleuthing into the cases and good forensics and every aspect of the case, right? They solve these cases. Then you get the dumbasses that probably shouldn't even have a job, and they can't figure out which hand is their left hand and which hand is their right hand. Okay. If you were missing anything, they couldn't find it. They had to look for their keys before they went to work. Okay. And somebody else found them for them. These are the people that need help. Okay. So, and when you just a big old dum-dum, listen, there ain't nothing wrong being a big dum-dum. I'm a big dum-dum. When I need help, I'm like, PJ, right? I call my producer. She comes in and she checks everything to make sure it's right, because I'm a big dum-dum. Okay. There's nothing wrong with being a dum-dum. There's plenty of room for dum-dums in this world. Okay. But you got to know when you need help. Right? Even I know, right? That's probably the smartest thing of me. I know when I need help. A lot of people, they get in this zone where, oh, we don't want to ask for outside help because then we look stupid. Okay. Well, when you don't solve a crime, you look fucking stupid anyway. Okay. So either way, you're going to look stupid. So you might as well get some help, solve the crime, so people don't have to put this pressure onto the police. And like I said, I hate to hear police whining about pressure. Life comes with pressure. You know what I'm saying? We expect things. We want some transparency. And I guess, you know, as Americans, we're not owed shit. But the Canadian people, I want some transparency for you guys, right? We do know that a lot of these rumors on the internet about bloody clothes and blankets and shirts and these things are not true, or they have no play in this case whatsoever, according to the Rcmp. Okay. So a lot of these people thinking there's things found right now, it has nothing to do with these kids missing. So if they've went out in these woods and they've searched so much of these woods and nothing, and I mean nothing's been found that has anything to do with these children, what does that tell you? To me, that is another huge red flag. Okay. Now we got Native American trackers here. You know, we could have sent one out to help you. You got to reach out for that help. They got to reach out for help from other bigger cities, people that have better investigators, maybe better interrogators, right? Because they have brought Danielson into the police station. They spoke with him for 4 hours, but they need to be bringing him in every day. All of them. Okay. They all need to be individually in different rooms to one of them break. Now, so many people from Canada told me that the laws there in Canada are kind of relaxed, that the criminal system goes easy on people unless you shoot a moose when it's not hunting season. Okay. You'll get life in prison, apparently, if you hurt a moose when it's not hunting season, that you're more likely to spend more time in jail for something like that than you are for unaliving somebody. Right. So I'm going to take back that. I'm going to kick a moose joke that I told last night. I ain't doing it, Canada. Don't come and get me. Okay. Don't come and get me. Next thing you know, just remember, I don't have a passport. So if you want to come arrest Dolly, I don't have a passport. Y'all wouldn't let me in when I was in Canada because I didn't have a passport. Don't try to get me now. I still don't have a passport. Okay. And I wanted to visit the city, not the jail. Okay. I didn't want had nothing to do with Canadian jail. I don't even know if y'all got bars. It might be just one big ass moose that guards you in a cell. Like you move, you get the horns. I don't know. Okay. Rocky and Bullwinkle jump out. I ain't trying to test it. I'm not trying to test the waters of Canada. Okay. I already been to Niagara Falls. It was scary. Okay. It was scary. I was in a boat and they rowed us into the waterfalls and water would hit me like a hurricane. And I was a little scared. Okay. So I don't want to test the waters any more than that. All right. Steel doors, no bars. Okay. That's even worse. Okay. I'd rather have bars. At least you can see out the bars. I'm good with bars. I'm used to that here in America. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. And is this going to be one of those cases where, oh, well, we ain't got enough proof that the parents did it. We don't know what happened. And then it just act like they're investigating. And, you know, every year they give an update. Oh, well, it's the 1 year anniversary of Jack and Lilly Sullivan going missing. Police say that, you know, it's still an active investigation and they continue to search, but you don't see no search, right? You don't see them really investigating. They just basically give up because they don't have the answers. And then somebody gets away with committing a crime. Some people would say the perfect crime, but I don't think there's no crime that are perfect. Usually people that do things like this make mistakes. And if they've done this, they've made mistakes. It only seems like people that live in these rural areas in the middle of fucking nowhere, they're the only ones that get away with crime. All right. You live in the city, commit a crime, your ass is done. Okay. You live out in the country, commit a crime, get perfectly away with it. Get perfectly away with it. And you know, listen, there was no dog scent outside of that home, outside that driveway. That tells me right there that them children did not run away from that property, that they were taken. Now, they were either taken by a stranger or they were taken by a family member. There's no way I go on a boat at Niagara Falls and I've lived on a sailboat. It ain't that bad. I was just kidding. It is a little scary if you ain't never been on it because they ride you, like you get in a boat and it sits right between America and Canada. And it's the Maiden of the Mist. You get on it and they ride you through the falls. Like they don't ride you. I said into it, but they ride you through the middle of it. But the water is so rough, right? It's like I've never been in nothing like that, right? PJ loved it. She's standing at the end of the boat like Titanic and shit like this. I'm clinged onto a pole on the boat, right? And I'm just like, holy shit, get me out of this, right? I've been on roller coasters that ain't this scary. It was just I couldn't see nothing because water was hitting me so hard in the face that I was just thinking, I hope I don't fly off this boat, right? But I didn't. I made it. I survived. And it was fun once I got off the boat. It wasn't really that fun when I was in there scared, right? It's never fun when you're scared. But you know that once you're done and you're alive, that becomes fun. You're like, oh, that was fun. Do I want to do it again? I skipped that one, right? I'll skip that one. But you know, I've been there, done that, you know, and there's people that actually been on the falls. There was a kid that fell into the water, went over the falls, right? With nothing but a bathing suit on and survived. There was a lady that went over the falls and survived. Now there's people that went over the falls and didn't survive, but there's a couple people that actually made it. And when you look at these drops, you're thinking there's no way somebody would survive in this, right? Like there's just no way. But hey, miracles happen. And we need a miracle in the Jack and Lily case, right? I never rule out a miracle. I believe in the God Almighty, and some things happen that are just like unbelievable. Could these kids be out there? Could they be alive? They can't. If somebody abducted these kids and is keeping them alive, feeding them, sheltering them, giving them water, you know, like I said, you can go a long time without eating. You really can. And I mean, you'll be weak, but you'll be alive. Now, some people say you can go 7 days without water. I wouldn't test that. Okay. I wouldn't be the one to want to test that, but 3 days, no water, you're in risk of dying. Okay. Your kidneys will shut down. You will be dead. All right. So make sure you drink water every day. They tell you what, 8 glasses a day. I don't even drink that. I'm probably next to death myself, but 8 glasses of water a day. And you know, you can only go 3 days. You know, some people hit me up and said, Dolly, you're wrong about that. It's 7 days. You can test that if you want. But like I said, I ain't going to be the person to go 7 days without drinking water, because I've been told forever, you don't drink water in 3 days, your kidneys are going to shut down and you're going to die. So I wouldn't test it. And it may have something to do with how much fluid you have in your body already, but let's don't test that theory and see, because somebody said their kid was in the hospital, the kid went 7 days. I'm like, how do you even go that long without drinking, without, you know, your mouth being dry, getting thirsty? But as long as somebody's giving these kids water, there's the possibility that they're alive. That's really all they need. Even if they went this 2 weeks or 2.5, what we were going on week 3, without completely eating nothing, they could still be alive. Now, if they're in the woods and they've had a way to get fresh water, even if it's not clean fresh water, I mean, you'll get sick, right? There's parasites and things like that in it. Unless you have a life straw. I got one right up there that you can drink right out of a damn mud puddle with. I wouldn't try it, but I got it just in case, right? I don't know. I live in the city. I don't know how I'm going to get stranded somewhere where I need a life straw, but PJ got me one because she's kind of a doomsday prepper. So she got one, I got one. We got like a little bug out bag and shit, right? So, if they have a way to get water, they could be in those woods alive this long, right? But without the knowledge or stumbling across somewhere that has fresh water that's drinkable, they wouldn't be with us at this point. Plain water is gross. I'm a sweet tea girl. Yeah, I used to live just completely off soda, right? But nowadays I've been drinking a little bit of water. Not today though. Okay. I think I got to put the water in the refrigerator. It ain't really cold. I got some cold water. You know, my fridge has a little ice maker and drink. I don't know.
Dolly, waving emoji, blue heart emoji.
So we need these people talking. And like I said, you know, the mother and the family saying they asked the mother not to talk. Why would that be the case? We got to ask ourselves that. Why? Right? The only reason they would want this mother not to talk is because they're building a case against the father, the stepdad. Okay. And that's a little early on to start building that case and go, oh, well, you're good. You're clear, honey. You know, your lack of emotion, you're perfect. You have nothing to do with it. I don't think that's the case. I think that is untruthful, that the police did not tell her not to talk. If they would have told her not to talk, they would have been telling him not to talk. Listen, don't say nothing to the media. Let us figure this out. And as we get information, we'll bring it back to you. Not only is he talking, but he's trying to interfere with the investigation. Okay. Daniel is literally reports of him going up to the command center, beating on the door, him and his brother, and wanting to know what the information the police have. If the police wanted you to know that information, they would have gave it to him. All right. And I get a little bit of a creepy vibe. Listen, I don't know. The dude could be a saint. He could be the nicest guy in the world. He could be the greatest stepdad to ever history of stepdads. I don't know. All I know is the vibe that I get from him. I look at a grown-ass man that has a YouTube channel based on showing kids Pokemon cards. Okay, to me, that's a little creepy. Now, I know what people are thinking. Dolly, there's good people out there that like kids. Yeah, they're called weirdos. Okay, they're called that. No, there's some people out there wouldn't hurt a kid to save their life. I understand that. I understand that. Some people just love kids and they would never hurt a kid. They're usually called Michael Jackson. Okay, Michael Jackson. Anybody remember Michael Jackson? He wouldn't hurt a kid. You know, he wouldn't save the world, right? I just don't trust it. Okay, like if you a grown ass man, you probably should be doing grown man stuff on the internet.
The stepdad was talking about Jack and he said he loved his blue boots. That's what threw me off. Talking about past tense.
Kim, absolutely right. And to do it so early on in the investigation, when in the first 3 days, he was talking about Jack in past tense. You know, and another thing that really was caught my attention is when he talked about the book bag. That he said the book bag would be dirty by now, right? When he was speaking on it, he said she had a white book bag with little strawberry prints on it that it'd probably be brown and dirty by now. To me, that was weird. Okay, it might not be weird or strange to anybody else. Does anybody find that strange? Let me ask. Hit the like button and press 1 in the chat room if you find that comment strange. Okay, she left with a white and strawberry book bag, but it's probably dirty by now. Does it only me? I'm the only one that find that strange? Okay, I'll see some ones. Okay, I ain't the only one. I found that a little weird of a comment. Yep. Okay, thank you, Facebook user. Hope. Okay, a lot more of y'all find that bizarre. I listen, some things I may find suspicious that you guys don't. Y'all may find things suspicious that I don't. Some of you guys may think, hey, these people ain't got nothing to do with it. These kids ran off there in the woods. We're not an echo chamber here. You can believe whatever you want. There's room for you here at this channel. I just, come up here and discuss my opinions. Y'all can agree with them. Y'all can disagree with them. I ain't mad at you, right? I think the police have did the best they could far as the search. Now listen, you can search and search, but if they're not out there, they're not out there. What we need, I think the searchers have probably did a great job. All these people that have come from all over the country, volunteered and get out there and search for these missing kids. Thank God you people are absolute angels. But what we need right now is good police work. And everything I'm hearing about that area is they don't have too much confidence in the police. Some people do. Some people believe the Rcmp always gets their man. The mounted police get their man.
Stepdad said Jack loved his blue boots. That's what I meant. Did you hear that when he was on the news?
Yes, that he had the blue dinosaur boots on. And he said things that were I don't know. Some people, we call them like fisherman stories, right? Where you catch a fish that's really like this big. And then by the time you tell the story, the fish is this big, and then it's this big. And then it was a monster fish that you couldn't even get into the boat, right? Every time you tell the story, it grows a little bit. And I don't know if that's the case of the father. I ran into the woods. I searched every culvert. I went down every back road. I ran through water up here in my neck, right? That was kind of like, here's the thing. Did you really do that? I outran the helicopters. I was outrunning the helicopters. Well, when a plane is in the sky, it looks like it's moving slow, but really that plane is traveling at hundreds of miles an hour. You know that, right? You may look up at this helicopter, and helicopters sometimes they do hover and move slow, but you do know they're moving faster than they appear to be moving. I hope he knows that. I hope he's intelligent enough to know everything ain't what it seems when you see it in the sky, right? If a plane was going as slow as it looks, it would fall out the sky. Okay. And they don't fall out the sky because they're moving at 100 miles, over 100 miles an hour. Okay. But you can watch it. It looks slow as shit flying through the sky, right? It don't even look like it's hardly moving, but it is. Okay. It definitely is. So is it just one of those stories that, you know, you're boosting your own ego and, you know, turning yourself into some superhero? I did this and I did it. Here's the bad thing. If you're running through water up to your neck, you may be the next one missing. Who are you out there with? You're running. So what is there, a team of people running with you? Like, it's bad enough to have a couple people missing, but like people tell me, Dolly, make sure you know, go out in those woods with somebody. Make sure you have constant contact with people. People know where you're at all times when you're in these woods looking for missing people. Because the worst thing that can happen is I could be the next one missing. And then you got to take all that focus off the kids to go save him. Thank you for joining. Awesome. We're on our road to 65,000. We're only like 200 people away, right? 200 people away from 65,000. So if you're watching out there from the bushes, sub me up. It makes a difference, right? I mean, it helps bring awareness to not just Jack and Lily, but kids all over the country, all over the world, right? So, and it's free. It don't cost you nothing, right? It's just a good deed. You did something good today. You know what they say? When you do something good in the world, it comes back to you sevenfold. So if you need a little bit of good luck in your life and you need some good things to happen to you, maybe things have been not going your way or a little bad, do something good. Not, you know, subbing me up is a good thing to do, but just anything good. You ain't even subbing me up. Do one gesture of kindness in this world, and I promise you it will come back to you sevenfold. Now you do something bad, like not subbing Dolly. Oh, it's going to get you. It's coming for you, right? And you don't need that in your life. So I would just sub up and take the good luck, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to be cursed for the next 7 years. I'm playing. I'll curse you all, right? I'm playing. But honestly, if you do good in this world, good things will come back to you. So try to be helpful and a good person. You ain't got to be great, but just be a.
That stepdad looks like a stick man. Come on, he wouldn't walk, he'd float.
The stepdad looks like a stick man. Come on. He wouldn't walk, he'd float. Okay, Kim. Thank you so much for your donations today. Listen, you can chat, you can say thanks to me, and you don't have to donate. I read everybody's comments, and I can. I don't read everybody, but when I glance over at the chat, I read as many as I can. So don't think that I ain't one of these channels you got to pay me to address you, right? Or say, you know, comment back to you. But thank you for your donation. All right. This is not a chain letter. Okay. So who is responsible? Betsy, thank you. Thank you so much. Who was responsible? I believe there's two people. All right, we got a trend going. We got the sub up Dolly train. All right, let's see how many people are going to do it that's watching out there. We just had two back to back. And we got anybody else? Anybody? I'm looking. I see you. I see you watching. You're thinking, should I sub up this idiot? Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. Idiots need subs too, right? We need love, right? Just because I'm a big old dum-dum don't mean I don't need a little bit of love, okay? We need it more. Okay? I need people watching over and make sure I don't do nothing stupid, okay? Make sure I don't do nothing stupid. But listen, even being a big dum-dum, I know that there's something wrong in this case. I can see it. And I know each and every one of you guys can see it, or you wouldn't be here watching it. You believe there's foul play, just like I believe there's foul play, right? If you believe there's foul play, we've been doing this every night just to see, because some of you might not. I want you to like the video, and then I want you to press 1 in the chat if you believe there's foul play. Now, if you believe the parents have nothing to do with this and these kids ran off, press 2. If you believe it's been a stranger kidnapping, press 3. 1, foul play. 2, the kids ran away. 3, a stranger Okay. I just want to see where you guys are at. I see a whole ton of ones coming in, right? I knew you guys were on the same page as me because it undecided, Katie. Okay, that's understandable. It's still early in the case. I won't, you can be undecided. I see a lot of ones. I think a lot of people in the public have kind of came up with hey, we ain't brand new to this world. We know something's wrong. Okay. Yes, Daniel has a YouTube channel. You want to pull his YouTube channel? I'll pull it up for you real fast. Hold on. Yes, he has like less than 200 subscribers. He does videos on Pokemon. And I get a little bit of a weird vibe from this guy. I want to show you his YouTube channel real fast. Okay, let me pull it up. My producers had just sent it to me. So, I mean, I seen it the other day too. Hold on. I got to get past this about boxing classes. Right here. Let me share this with you guys. Okay, bam. Here is his Facebook page. He has 155 subscribers, 25 videos, and he basically makes videos for kids.
Look at interview with stepbrother on 4x4 quad and how clean that bitch is.
Yes, locked and loaded. The four-wheeler is clean. Why is it that they wash the four-wheeler, but everything else is dirty as shit in their house? Is like the yard is filthy, but they didn't clean the yard, but they took all that time to polish that four-wheeler up. And locked and loaded, how he was acting on the four-wheeler. Like he laid back, like he about to take a nap, right? I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Like, why is this dude? I mean, I know you ain't the stepdad and you ain't directly related, only by the kids, like, him being with the mother, and they're not even married. So technically they're not related to the kids at all. Yeah. And then you got the brother that's in the weird Pokemon cards too. All right, here's his channel. 1999 vintage Pokemon. I am saying that right. I used to say Pokemon, but I think it's Pokemon cards, binder, opening, giveaway reminder. And 123 people watched that 5 years ago. All right. I don't know how old Daniel is. And listen, I do got grown ass friends. I got a buddy named Buddha Mike, and he is all into this like Pokemon shit. Okay. And he's a grown ass man. So I mean, I guess it ain't, I would think this is more of a kid's thing. And that's what sketches me is when grown men are into kid things. It reminds me of Stephen Stearns in the Maddie Soto case when he collected those gigapets, like it's a little keychain and there's a little pet and you got to keep it alive. And he was giving those to Maddie Soto for sexual favors and, taking her phone. And if she wanted her phone, she had to perform. It just kind of like, it reminds me, it gives me that vibe. Okay. Now I don't know. This dude could be the nicest guy, the best guy in the world. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying my opinion and how I feel about the situation. If what I'm saying, if I'm off, it's only because I don't know this man personally, or I've not been around this man to know, or I don't know enough about him. I'm only judging on, and listen, everybody judges. I know it's wrong to judge, but I'm only judging by what we see. But there's more to somebody than what you see, right? Even Dolly, there's more to me than this YouTube stuff. And you see me, you think you really know me, but there's a lot more to me that is off of YouTube, right? That you don't know. So you don't really know how well you know somebody unless you know all aspects of their life. And I'm going to say, I don't know that about Daniel. I've heard really good things about him. Believe it or not, I have. People that say they know him, they usually tend to say really, really good things about him. He has other kids that he never hurt, right? Not hot. Men into Pokemon. No, I would say, I don't know. It's to me, it's a nerdy thing. And listen, there ain't nothing wrong with being nerdy. A lot of nerdy people drive Ferraris, they live in mansions, they're well off in life, right? And to me, I just was born cool with shit. Okay. I couldn't help it. I just come from a long line of cool ass people. And I never really got into those things, you know, like the Dragon Ball Z and the anime and the I just never really, it was never in the you know, I was out chasing bitches, right? That didn't fit in with my strategy of, you know, BMXing and skateboarding and surfing and, you know, hanging out. Like, you know, my friends wasn't into stuff like that. So I never really got into things like that. Like I had friends though that, you know, I'm cool with, not that I really hung out with, but they'd be like, hey man, what you doing? You know, be in high school, what you doing? Well, me and my buddies are playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I'd be like, well, you guys have fun with that shit. I'm going out to the club, watch Pantera, right? I was more of that the guy. All right. But I didn't ever knock anybody for, you know, I'm on the chess club, because I was one of those people, even in school, that I could vibe with everybody. Like I had some nerdy friends, I had some jock friends, I had my metalhead friends, you know, I had the popular kids or friends, you know, so I kind of bounced around.
Collecting things are okay, but kids come first.
Yes, I kind of bounced around. Like, you know, a lot of people had their lunchroom table that they sit at. They usually sit with their group of friends. I would bounce around tables. I'd sit here one day, sit here with these people, you know, and I could bounce even all the way to the hood people. You know what I'm saying? I could sit with. So I kind of got along with everybody in school, which made school, you know, a lot of people hated school. I enjoyed school. I had a lot of friends. I got along with everybody. I can't think of like one fight that I got into in high school. So it was good for me. I ain't saying that's the same experience that everybody had in school, but and even in life, I'm like that. I get along pretty much with everybody. I don't really care. But what I'm saying is I kind of skipped over this. I know that there's people that are into it, and that's perfectly fine. But now we got somebody that's into kids stuff that got kids missing. That's when it gets a little creepy. Now, if he was just a man playing with Pokemon cards and collecting the Dragon Ball Z characters, right, I wouldn't have no problem with it. Like me, I collect horror movie stuff. Some people find that weird. Okay, they're like, how do you sleep in this house? You got life-size leather faces, Freddy Krueger standing over you. You got pictures of Jason Voorhees, film strips, and just all kinds of horror stuff, right? That's weird. Are you a killer? No, but I guarantee you, if somebody went missing around me and then you showed them all the stuff that I collect, he'd be like, that dude killed that person. He's a killer. He wouldn't want all these weird killer things if he wasn't a sick person, right? I'm not at all. I am probably the nicest person you'll meet, right? I can be an asshole, but I'm probably one of the nicest people you meet. I'm into those things. And maybe this is what he's into. Right? Maybe that's what he's into, and that's perfectly acceptable. You know, to me, I'm more into, you know, horror movies, BMX, skateboarding, beachy kind of things more than anything else. And I know everybody has their own interest, but when you have an interest that involves stuff that little kids are into, and then you got two little kids missing, you're saying inconsistent statements. It worries me a little bit. Okay. This says giveaway update. My brother's vintage Pokemon card collection. Epic. Is that Holos? I don't know nothing about Pokemon. All right. Like I said, I don't know. I know there's a card called Charizard. All right. And it's supposed to be the most popular card. And the only reason I know about that card is because I watched another grown-ass man that's famous, Ryan Upchurch, up here on the internet, and he likes Pokemon cards. And he was talking about a Charizard card. And I'm thinking, damn, I wouldn't think Upchurch, you know, but, you know, maybe he enjoys that little bit of, to me, it's nerdy stuff, right? Have I taught you? And PJ knows about the Pokemon stuff. You know, she has a kid. My daughter was never into Pokemon. She was into like Dora the Explorer, Hannah Montana, all these bands and like, and then as she got a little tiny bit older, she became like all hardcore, started listening to like really cool ass bands. And now she listens to K-pop. So she's been all over the place. So some things I know about because of my kids and my kid, and the rest of it, I'm kind of like, so I'm just saying all his stuff is on Pokemon. Pokemon card giveaway, 125 subscribers. Subscribe now to enter. Okay. Man, he got a ton of subscribers, 125. Maybe I need to do some giveaways. Like maybe I should give away some Pokemon cards. Okay. Do you have fake Pokemon cards 5 years ago? Okay. Detective Pikachu opening. Okay. Pikachu's that little yellow one. I've seen him before. New giveaway winner chosen. So all these videos are from about 5 years ago. Okay, it says, hi, let's read his bio. Hi, my name is Dan. I first opened Pokemon cards as a kid. When I grew up in Nova Scotia, Canada, and now as an adult, I would like to share my passion with you, the YouTube viewers. Okay. He started opening Pokemon cards when he was a kid. I mean, that's understandable, right? When I was a kid, I collected G.I. Joe men. Okay. All the little G.I. Joes. I had the bases, the aircraft carrier, you name it, I had as a kid. As a grown man, not so much. Okay. There was a time, that I was sitting around and I said, I'm going to buy every toy I had when I was a kid. I want my toys back. Right. And I think it was after my Mr. Deeds kick. Y'all ever seen Mr. Deeds, the movie, Adam Sandler? And he was like, what would the young version of you think about the grown version of you? And for some reason, that was one of those questions that kind of made me think, what would the young version of me think about the older version of Dolly? Right? Me, myself, I think the young version would be like, holy shit, you're a cool ass dude. Right? That's what I think. I haven't strayed much from being that kid that I once was. Right? Only I'm more responsible, right? Because I got bills to pay. I got to pay that light bill. I got people to feed, things to take care of. You know what I'm saying? My own kid. I would say, but still the little goofy, let's have fun, playful kid that I was when I was, let's say 13, 14, 15 years old, or even younger. I am still that person. Not much, believe it or not, has changed. And I was thinking to myself, the only thing that's different now is I don't have all my toys. That's what I generally thought. And I got on a kick to where I was like, I'm going to buy all my old toys back. So I went on to eBay, right? And I started buying G.I. Joe men, right? Because I had all these big, huge G.I. Joe collection. And there was these toys called Mask. They're real collectible now, and then they're hard to get. So I started buying all my G.I. Joes back, and I had got a pretty big collection of G.I. Joe men. I mean, hard to get ones, even ones I didn't have as a kid, right? I was like, oh, I wanted that one as a kid, but I couldn't get it because it was hard to get. But now I got a little bit of money. Let me buy my toys back, right? So I ended up buying a whole bunch of G.I. Joe stuff, bases, airplanes, tanks, just, cool stuff, right? And I ain't got no grandkids, so I ain't really got nobody to let play with it. And I ended up boxing it up, still collecting it, but I had it in my attic. Just a collection, right? I didn't really play with them, but I ended up having a house fire. Okay, the house burnt down. All my stuff that I was collecting got destroyed. Now, when I was young, I collected all that stuff too. I guess I collected a lot of baseball cards, rookie cards, things, real expensive stuff that would be real expensive to this day. That got destroyed in a house fire. I ain't had no luck with collectibles. Okay, none. All my collectibles, both times, have been destroyed in a house fire. That sucks. Okay, so after that second fire, I was like, okay, I'm not collecting anything else, because to me, at this point, it seems to be a bad omen, right? Like every time I get a huge collection of something burns the fuck down, and I don't, I just said, all right, I give up. I give up at that point. So even I used to collect Transformers too. Anybody into Transformers? So I get it. I get the whole thing. That's a long way to make that point, right? But like I said, I don't have any missing kids. It don't seem so creepy when you ain't got missing kids. So the Pokemon thing to me is a little weird. And he stopped 5 years ago. Why did he stop 5 years ago? We know that he got up with Malehya 3 years ago. Okay. She moved into the trailer 2 years ago and a little change. Okay. So something, in his life changed to make him stop YouTubing. I don't know what that could have been, but something happened. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. And you guys tell me what you think. Did the Rcmp drop the ball in this case? Are the families suspect? Should more pressure have been put onto them, especially at this point that there's nothing in the woods? Or are we going down the wrong path? All right, you guys let me know, and I will put the phone line up right. Give me 1 second. Let me open the phone lines first. And now I will put the call-in number on the screen. I knew it. This better not be you. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly, it's Army Mom. How are you today?
Hey, Army Mom, I'm good. I thought it was going to be Rose from Virginia. I just had that feeling. I was like, this is going to be Rose from Virginia.
Not yet, but you'll probably hear from her soon, I'm sure.
Okay. It's a little early. I think it's a little early in the day. She usually
Yeah.
calls late at night.
Yeah.
She usually calls late at night. So what do you think, Army Mom?
Well, this is just kind of my scenario about what have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe the kids may have been playing a little too rough or not listening to them. Maybe I'm thinking maybe it was him that may have got a little angry when after the kids, or one of the kids, maybe the other kid tried to stop them, and it just turned into a bad situation. And I think the stepdad.
What about this theory? What if one kid hurt the other kid, and then the parents hurt that kid for hurting that kid?
Well, that could be possible too. That's very possible. But I think the stepdad's dad, they said he took a trip or something somewhere. No, that's just hearsay. We don't know that.
This what made me think of that. Not to cut you off, but in the Harmony Montgomery case, in the trial, it came out that Harmony allegedly was trying to hurt the little brother, right? The other kid they had. And Adam Montgomery came in there and beat the child really bad and blacked her eye because she had hurt the other child. So
yeah, that's terrible. That little girl, that still breaks my heart about her too.
Yeah. So is it possible that one kid may, because we got two kids that are gone, and it's very rare that two kids come up missing. So that's why I'm thinking maybe one kid did something to the other kid, and then they punished this kid in a bad way, and now both kids are missing.
Or maybe they hurt the little one, the baby.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not meaning to or something, and it angered them. Something transpired in that trailer. Something happened. But I think the stepdad's dad had something to do with it too, about at least getting them away from there. And I think when the cops came, when they had the domestic, I think that was her way of saying, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting away from this. I don't want nothing to do about it. If he says anything, I'm going to say something. It's kind of we both know, but we both can't say anything. And she just got the heck out of there because she knows what happened there was bad.
Yeah. And what do you think about these lie detector tests? Do you think the RCMP should have instantly, as soon as he said, I'll take it, had him down there taking one?
I'm like you. They're not admissible in court, but yeah, I would like for him to took one just to see what it would have said.
I'd like to have all of them take
I mean, he
one.
still can. I mean,
Yeah, and
do what now?
I would like to see all of them take one. I think the mother, all of them, everybody there should be taking one. And me, like I said, I don't believe it either, but I think it's enough to get them down there and all talking at the same time. They need all of them there, and they need to be blaming each other. You know how police don't have to tell you the truth.
Exactly.
They can walk in there and say, "Hey, well, your girl just told me you did it, and you're gonna go to prison for 20 years."
Yeah, have them all in a separate ring. Yeah.
Yeah, until he goes, "I didn't do it. She did it."
That brother sitting on that four-wheeler tells me a lot. I don't know what it is about that photo of him just all laid back there, just all nonchalant, but he knows something too. It's like, I mean, I'm not going to be sorry. I'm not worried about it. We know what happened to these kids, and I'm not saying a word.
I want to address this by Boots. Okay. It says Boots said they could have already taken the test. You're absolutely right. But if they did, you can believe this. With the way that guy talks, he would have done said he passed the test. Because he look like Katie Proudfoot. As soon as she took a test, she said, I took a lot of tests. I passed it. If they had already took the test, they would already be saying they passed the test. Oh, it ain't me. I passed the test. And, you know, let's be honest. Maybe if they did take a test and the police came out and gave the results of that test, even though I wouldn't believe it, I think it would drop some of the speculation down on the internet about the family. Right?
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows when somebody goes missing or hurt, the first suspects are the parents until they're cleared. And if they're so confident the parents ain't done nothing, why haven't they cleared the parents?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and then that would stop the speculation.
Smith, I mean, she showed more emotion over her kids missing, even though she killed them, than any of these people have.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, tears ain't always the case, but when there's no tears, none.
And the mom is just she just left. She's got supposedly a new boyfriend and all this other stuff is what they're saying.
And has there been any proof to that? Is there any proof of that? Because I heard the same thing. But I haven't seen nothing.
I've heard it. Somebody says she changed her Facebook status. Now, I don't know. I don't know how to get to her Facebook or anything. I've tried. I haven't been able to successfully find it, but
yeah, she's in a relationship this fast with somebody else. I'm going to be super skeptical of her. She may bump up a notch on my suspect list. She's already tied with Daniel. Both of them two people, me, are like super sus.
Oh, yeah, especially the way he looked at her when she was at that birthday party screaming. He just glared like he was just looking right through her, wanting to say something so bad to her or do something to her, but he couldn't because all those people were there. So. He just looked at that poor little girl like he
Okay, Army Mom. You be good. You stay safe.
You too.
All right, peace.
You too. Peace.
Dolly.
Hey, Dolly, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad.
I think it's sexual abuse, and the other child walked in on it.
Okay, say that one more time. I had a super chat coming in from Kim. Thank you, Kim. Right as you said that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear it. Because I have you
muted
quiet right now.
Okay. Right.
But anyway, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Not too bad. Just starting my day. I slept in a little bit.
Okay. Oh, I said I'm calling from Tennessee. I go by Tennessee when I call.
Okay.
And now I didn't want to answer the 3 questions you just asked, but I do, if you don't mind, I'd like to address the poll that you took.
Okay.
On foul play or whatever. I have a feeling that all 4 of those people that live there were involved. I think the mom did the harm, and then the boyfriend and his brother, and possibly, but I'm not sure, but possibly the grandmother were all involved in removing the children.
Okay.
So I haven't heard anybody talk about that or include the other people that live there. But I think all 4 of them were involved and know and all that stuff. So I would like to know how much they've all been questioned.
I don't know. And I just know this. If somebody says, hey, I'll take a lie detector test, I would have used that as a reason to take you down there, to make you spend time at the police station, to get you talking. I think when they started saying they would take these lie detector tests, that the Rcmp should have jumped on it. They should have been right on top of it. And I believe they dropped the ball there, because that's a prime opportunity to get him down there talking. Well, you want to take this lie detector test, so we're going to bring you down here and let you do it. You know, just so you can clear yourself. But didn't get him talking. But I think they should be doing that to all the family members. I mean, they should have every last single one of them down there trying to turn them on each other, because I believe the answers lie there. Now, I could be wrong. And they have nothing to do with it. But they're not treating it like it's an abduction, right? They're not treating it like that.
Right. But when the boyfriend asked to have a polygraph, he said in that one interview that it had to be flown in because they just don't have one there. Well,
hey, I mean, the border ain't far away. I'm sure people could get you one if you wanted it. Yeah. I'm sure if you called Nancy Grace, she would get you one. She'd bring you on to the show. You know what I'm saying? And she would make sure you took a polygraph test.
Yeah.
With the FBI. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
She'd give you a good one. And and to not see them, on any of these big shows right now, it's a little bit of a travesty, because these kids are important too. Just because they're from Nova Scotia don't make them any less important than kids right here from America.
Exactly. And honestly, it looks to me like a lot of people are involved in just this case. And, I think that's awesome, because those children need to be found.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Of course. That's what I'm saying. They need to be found. And the more exposure they get, the better. And we just listened to a video where they were saying that there's not a lot of exposure for them in Canada, which is insane. 2 kids go missing here, it would be an outrage, and it don't seem to be as big on the news there in Canada as it would be here in the States.
Well, from what I understand, because I have a friend in Canada, actually the one that sent you those diamond paintings of the turtle.
Yeah.
The two frame things. Well, anyway, she lives in Canada.
Oh, okay.
And I'll have to ask her about that.
Okay.
Because that's not, sorry, I lost my train of thought. She mentions all the time that their access to media is very limited by Canada.
Okay.
Like, she'll hear something that she wants to watch, but she goes to look for it and she can't get it. So they don't run TV like we do.
Okay. All right.
And that's what she said many times, because it's very frustrating for her.
I guess it all depends on what satellite servers you have or what cable networks and all that good stuff.
Well, she said it's all blocked by Canada.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So whatever they don't have is blocked by Canada.
I got you. Well, look.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you calling in and chopping it up with me. You be good. Stay safe.
You and PJ, enjoy your day.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Somebody in the chat says, look at the bus driver. I'm sure, they're investigating anybody that's had contact with them children, from far as the neighbors to the bus drivers to the teachers. We know they interviewed 35 people. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly, it's Annie from Wisconsin.
Hey, Annie. How you doing today?
Good. You made it. You made the Lizzie Borden house.
Yeah,
right?
you survived. I survived. Yeah.
That's good.
I even got the T-shirt to prove I survived it.
Nice. Hey, okay, so I'm kind of fairly new to this case. I've been watching you for the last 4 hours because I was watching your other show from last night.
Oh, okay.
But I'm trying to get caught up on it. Now, did they have cadaver dogs or search dogs in this?
We don't know if any cadaver dogs have been used. We know dogs have been used, right? They brought out tracking dogs, and apparently the dogs tracked to the end of the driveway. Now, when they gave the press conference the first week, they said a media person asked, well, have y'all brought in cadaver dogs? And they said no. So in the first week, they didn't use cadaver dogs. He said, but that may be our next step. Now, the police ain't came out and told us that they've done that, but we have known that the police have been back up to the house since that first week, and they were searching it. They searched the nearby lakes with boats and divers, which there's three. There's one big lake, Lansdowne Lake, right? And then across from that is two adjacent, like I would say ponds. They're not like big enough to be a lake, but a couple ponds that are close to the property. And then they were searching underneath the trailer. Now, I don't know at that point, were they using cadaver dogs or not? Because, you know, it's unclear. But me, myself, I think whatever vehicles they own need to be searched with cadaver dogs to see if anything may have been dead in their vehicles. And another thing people have been pointing out is how clean the four-wheeler is. That the four-wheeler looks like it's been cleaned. Right? They got a dirty yard, but a clean four-wheeler. It don't, you know, and people are a little skeptical that they may have put these kids on a four-wheeler and took them off somewhere into the woods because there's all these four-wheeler trails and paths. And if anybody knows those woods, Annie, it's them because they've lived there for years.
Right. And then they had that spring cleanup that you guys were mentioning, and that was kind of suspicious too.
Yeah, I hate to, you know, this be one of those, another, you know, landfill situation. I still think that's a little chancy, easy to get caught because sometimes they see what dumps out these trucks before they plow it over with dirt and things like that or destroy it. But it happens. We know it's happened in other cases, Quentin Simon to be exact, and they didn't see him when they dumped him. And, you know, these kids are small. They can fit on almost in, you know, a suitcase or a storage bin. Or I know that sounds terrible, but it's true. If I was them, I would do a little search of the landfill before it gets too, you know, because they're already 2 weeks in. So I would, whatever landfill, or see, I don't even know if their house goes to a landfill because sometimes when you live out in the country like that, a lot of people burn their trash or they have to take the trash to the dump themselves. So I don't really know the circumstances around that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they should definitely do the dogs and search the landfill because you just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long the scent lasts. So doesn't it last only like 2 weeks or something like that?
That I'm not familiar with. I honestly don't know how long a cadaver dog could pick up on the smell of decomp. But I can tell you this, the smell of decomp, it don't go away quick because this hurts my heart to even say this. I was in New Hampshire. I went up there for the Adam Montgomery case. I mentioned this case earlier. And Adam, after he killed his daughter, he put her in a bag and he was living in a homeless place called the Fit Shelter. And in the Fit Shelter, he put the bag into the top of the ceiling on the ceiling tiles. So, oh my gosh. Basically, the bag, the decomp leaked out the bag and stained the ceiling tiles. So in court, they cut out the ceiling and they brought the whole ceiling into the courtroom and they unwrapped it and you could smell it.
Oh God. Yeah. I think I
and this was a year and a half, 2 years later, and you could still smell it. I mean, it made grown men were in the courtroom crying. I seen more tears that right there when they opened that thing up. Everybody in the courtroom stood up and you just watched grown ass men start crying. Like it was that bad. That's how disgusting and horrible it was. And the prosecutor looked at everybody, I mean, even in the audience, and said, this is what's left of Harmony Montgomery. And you just seen people bawling. I mean, they were handing out things to dry your tears and everything. They were just walking around passing them through the pews. That's how many people were broke out in tears. It was horrible. It's one of the worst, nastiest. It's still like, I'll live with that forever.
I don't know how a human being can do that. That's just disgusting and horrible, horrendous.
I know that is a monster.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
There's a lot of terrible people in this world. And, you know, him, you could see it. He was just, the way he acted, you could tell he was a horrible person, drug addict, horrible person. It's a little bit harder to tell with Daniel and Malehya. They don't look like terrible people, you know? So They don't really
Yeah, but
act
there is
like
that.
terrible people as far as in the media.
But there is they are saying like they did drugs and stuff. So I'm not sure. I mean, a lot of your viewers are saying they could have, overdosed on some pills or fentanyl or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. We try not
Like
to
that.
name drugs here. We just
Oh, I'm
use the drug.
sorry.
Yeah. YouTube's funny with about the naming things. We don't want to,
Okay.
make people aware that these things are out here. So people want to go and try them or anything. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
we
no,
just
I'm
try,
not about to get you sued, Dolly. I'm
yeah, we just
sorry.
try to say drugs. We try to leave the names out. And that's for the chat too, guys. We use code words like F and M, and we try, people understand what you're saying. If they know
When
what
there was
drugs
some
are
F in
bad,
there.
the ones that are killing people and the ones that are making your teeth fall out is basically a good way to go over it,
Yeah. All right, Dolly. Well, I just wanted to chat with you for a little while. I don't want to get you sued,
All
so I'll
right.
let you
All
go.
right. Peace.
All right, bye.
I'm not worried about nobody suing me because I keep everything on the up and up. I don't accuse people of crimes they didn't commit. Now I have the right to say I'm suspicious of those people. So do you guys, right? Just stop blaming the green machine. LOL, the green machine ain't got nothing to do with that. We don't think it has anything to do with the green machine. All right, there, elevated true. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. I think a lot of people believe in, them hard drugs that destroy families and kill people and make your teeth fall out is the blame. And when you don't know the answers, everybody wants to try to, make it make sense. It's just natural. Like you start to speculate when you don't know. That's why, I think the police should come out and when they hear something they know is not true, they should clear up some of the speculation. Like we told her to talk, not to talk. And the internet's speculating about that. Maybe the police should say, hey, yeah, we did tell her that. But if that's the case, they would tell everybody not to talk. So I don't believe that. You got a mother out here that's not looking. She's not talking. She's posting on her Facebook that she's single. Completely suspicious. The stepdad and his family, they're strange, right? Don't make you guilty. None of this makes you guilty. It just makes people look at you like, I don't really trust what I'm seeing. And if they are innocent, why don't the police come out and defend these parents a little bit? Like I said, it seems like the police don't have much right this second, because if they did, there would be an arrest. Okay. If they had overwhelming evidence, there would be an arrest. So we got to go with, they don't have overwhelming evidence, that they don't know as much as we think they might know. And they're getting upset that people are pressuring them, especially the internet. Listen, we want to see you mad at the people responsible. Not one time have the police came out and said, listen, whoever has Jack and Lily, we're going to punish you to the fullest extent of the law. We're going to make sure you spend the rest of your life in prison. You need to turn these kids over before it gets worse. So the parents ain't begging and pleading for kidnappers to return their kids. So nobody's treating this like it's an abduction. Okay. If they thought somebody kidnapped their kids right from the beginning. Daniel and Malehya said that. We need to check the airports, the border. We need to check these places. The kids have been abducted. Then why are you looking in the woods? Why are you running through the woods? Why are you running up to your neck? Why are you out running helicopters? It don't make sense. And if your mind, you thought she was abducted, you'd be searching other places. You wouldn't be in those woods. Now, there's a possibility you don't know, so you would be in the woods. Like, I don't know, it's possible, but you'd be searching everywhere, not in just one area. So I'm not buying it. But here's the thing, guys. I'm skeptical of everybody, right? I'm into true crime, so I think everybody's a murderer, killer, or done something bad. Okay, and that's just the way I think. I didn't think like this 3 years ago, right? Kind of like Sebastian, right? I didn't think like this. I thought there was, the world was chill and nobody would chop you up. But 3.5 years later, I'd be like, shit, I don't even want to go outside. Okay. I don't trust people. I look at people differently, and that's all because every day to me is murder, mayhem, mystery. Okay. That's just my life these days. So I look at everything like when something happens, I'm like, I wonder if they done it, until I can go, okay, they didn't do it. There's some evidence that you didn't do it. You have a good alibi or something like this, but these parents don't. Nobody in that house has a solid alibi to shit. All right. Nothing. We were here. Well, then if you was there, you're lying. You still love everyone and hope for humanity. I still love everybody. That don't mean I trust you. That don't mean I don't think you're a killer. I do have hope for them. I'm a real forgiving person, right? I just am. I don't hold grudges. If I get mad at you, I don't stay mad at people. Nothing like that. I don't hate anybody. But being sketchy of you, I would say I'm pretty sketchy of people. Right? Especially when I first meet you. I'm pretty sketchy of you. But like I said, I don't hold grudges against people. I don't stay mad at people. I got some hope in humanity, I guess. I just, as long as you don't stab me, we all right, okay? don't stab me. We okay, okay? Just like chop somebody else up. But I figure I'm going to get it before anybody else because I got a lot of weird ass people that watch me sometimes. And one of them's probably got me on the hit list, right? I was probably mean to somebody online. They're like, yep, Dolly, let's write that down. And I'm on a list somewhere just waiting to die. I got that vibe, right? I got that vibe. So now let's open the phone lines back up. There's the phone line number is on the screen. Are we on to something here? Or these parents, just going through hell. Listen, there's been parents out there that didn't have nothing to do with their kid disappearance, and they got dragged so bad on the internet. Dolly.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, this is Trash Panda.
Trash Panda?
Yeah, I've been in your chat. I'm actually 20 minutes down the road from them.
Awesome. So Nova Scotia in the house. Where did you come up with the name Trash Panda?
I have a thing for raccoons.
Okay. It makes sense. We got a raccoon here we named Apple. He's all fat. He can't even run.
They're so cute.
Okay, so what do you think about this case?
Heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken over it. The whole community is just absolutely devastated. We don't have stuff like that happen here. And the fact that there's just no evidence whatsoever. If they went through the woods, there would be skin cells on the trees. The dogs would have picked that up. So the fact that there's just nothing, it's just, we're all baffled. We don't understand it.
Let me ask you a question real quick since I got you here and you're from that area. We're watching stuff earlier that says they don't believe that they're getting enough media coverage there in Nova Scotia and surrounding areas. What do you think about the media coverage? Do you think that it's been heavy on the children or are they just overlooking it?
So locally in Nova Scotia, there is coverage on it. Across the rest of Canada, like a lot of cities like Toronto and Vancouver, they have people go missing all the time. So they see it and they're like,
little kids, 2 kids.
No, I know, but
that seems
we're it's very small here. Like Nova Scotia, the population in the entire province is less than 1 million people.
Okay.
The entire county of Pictou County has 45,000. So it's a very small, close-knit community. So all of Nova Scotia and even our other maritime provinces like New Brunswick, Newfoundland, PEI, they're
aware of it.
So invested in this.
Yeah.
Because, they're all so invested in it because things like this don't happen. The last time we had a child go missing was 5 years ago. Dylan Eller, I'm sure people in your chat have brought that up. And they believe he fell in the brook and got swept out into the basin, out into the ocean.
Was he ever recovered?
That's the last time.
Never found?
Yeah, no, he was never found. And 40. And I don't recall in my 40 years, I've been born and raised here, and I don't recall a child or two children just falling off the face of the earth, like completely with no evidence.
Yeah.
It's never happened. So we're just all completely like, what the hell? Like, and I think that's why there is so much speculation from locals, like, because it's just how do two children go missing without a trace, like literally without a trace.
And they're not in the woods. I mean, I think the police, with all the searchers out there and how fast allegedly they got out there in the beginning, and they set up that big perimeter that the kids couldn't have got out of it. And, you know, I think the police have done a good job searching. I've seen video, I've seen images of it, how many people were out there and what they were using to search. So I feel like they went through those woods with a comb and found nothing. And that just, to me, shows me that them kids never went into those woods, in my opinion.
Me too. And so that's another thing. I have a coworker that has been out searching. Mm-hmm. He was out Sunday. I have a cousin who was out searching. And so that's one thing. A lot of people that aren't from the area, that area out there in particular is very, very, it's at the base of a mountain, number one. So it's the Pictou County Antigonish Highlands, Mount Tom in particular, for anybody that's from the area. They live at the base of that. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very thick, dense forest. It's very, very rapid changes in elevation. Like my coworker, he was tasked in a particular area on Sunday, and they would start into the trees at the edge of the woods, and it just drops down into the riverbed. And so it's like, you know, quite a steep drop down. Mm-hmm. So they've got to scale down through that. So, and it's such thick, dense trees that, like, you literally have to like squeeze to get through them. So he said the fact that there was no sign of like articles of clothing, mm-hmm. or, you know, like he said in particular, like he kept an eye out where the stepfather Daniel kept bringing up pull-up. He was like, if he was wearing a pull-up when he went out into the woods, after days, that would have exploded. Yeah. And you would have those beads that are in them that absorb the water. Yeah. There would be trails
that
of that.
Cotton,
you would see
the cotton
that. You would find evidence of that.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, so that was one thing in his mind that he was like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye out for, like, they almost look, what are those ones that you can buy on Amazon? They're like jelly beads. They're the similar idea. He was looking for like evidence of that. Or
little pieces of clothing caught on tree branches or sticker briars or things like that. Fibers from the pink clothing or anything they were wearing. Nothing. Like, so.
Yeah.
I think.
And they have found articles of clothing, but, you know, like he himself actually found a sweater. And they immediately tag the GPS location. They take a picture of it. They send it to the Rcmp. That gets sent off to the mom for verification. Mm-hmm. Nope, that's not there.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, there are other kids that live out there, but it's just like, what are the odds? A kilometer away from your home, we found a shirt that looks like it potentially could be the correct size for a child of your size. I'm going to send this off, and then it comes back. No, it's like, what?
Yeah.
How many kids are out running through these woods?
Yeah, in the middle,
clothing behind,
in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, because it's far from town. It's not. It's a very sparsely populated area, and it's just, yeah. So the fact that, and I know my cousin, he was involved in the original search. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a part of the SAR group. He originally showed up. He's ex-military. He heard these kids were missing. He's on pension. His daughter was at school. So he's like, I'm going to go help, because he lives a little closer to town. So he's like, I have a 4-wheeler. I'm going to go help look. So when the Rcmp moved non-SAR trained people and asked them to leave, he went outside the search perimeter and he found items by a brook. He found socks. He found a pink and purple headband. He found a pair of underwear. I'm sure people have heard that story online. That was actually my cousin that found that. Those items, he led the Rcmp to them. They took over that area. Beyond that, I don't know if they had any connection to it or not. But
yeah, well, so far
it's just the fact that children's items have been found, but they're just, the parents are saying, nope, that's not there.
Yeah,
it's like,
I guess latest from the police says they have nothing that leads them. So everything that's been found has nothing to do with the children right now. That at least as far as the police are saying.
Well, I can say the police here, I know from being in your chat and being in the chat of other channels, and we feel it too. It's the Rcmp are very tight-lipped about anything that they get.
Yeah.
So if there was any evidence found in the home or anything like that, any kind of leads, they're not going to disclose that to us. They're not going to tell us if he took a lie detector test. They're just not going to tell us that stuff.
Yeah.
And it is frustrating because, and I completely understand, you know, why speculation is running rampant and why people that have become invested in Jack and Lily's story are frustrated with it, because it's just like, give us something. Like when I've seen followed cases in the States, and it's, you know, the police do give a little more information.
Yeah.
So there is a difference in how they do things here. Definitely huge difference. Like there are times when information should be released more widespread. I know a few people have brought up, we had a mass shooting in 2020, and the police did issue social media alerts on Twitter. Not everybody used Twitter.
Yeah.
So a lot of people miss that. So there was actually one girl in particular, she was one of the last victims, one of the last couple victims that he took their life. She left for work that morning. If there had been an alert issued, like to the entire province on our phones through the emergency alert system, she probably would still be with us.
Yeah.
But they let it go and issued it on social media instead, on Twitter, not even on Facebook, on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't even use Twitter.
Majority of
I got it. I don't use it.
Well, a lot of people in Nova Scotia don't. I know people that don't use any social media whatsoever, but they have a phone, and they would have gotten, you know, a text alert. It wasn't until it was too late. He had already killed nearly 20 people by that point, and he ended up killing 22 people total.
Yeah.
So, you know, They did issue alert here later on. They didn't. They issued a bulletin, you know, like on social media, that the kids were missing. And then later on, they issued out phone alerts to our county as well as two neighboring counties, Truro and Antigonish. But I think it would have been valuable to issue it to the whole province. They can do that without labeling it as an Amber Alert. Like I know I've been down in Halifax before, and that's several counties away. You know, that's 2 hours away from here. I've been down there, you know, visiting and have alerts issued elsewhere in the province and get them down there. So it would have been possible, but yeah, I don't know. It's sad. I feel for the RCMP because I know
they need to do a better job with these alerts, because what does it bother if you know, your phone beeps? It ain't a big deal to me. I mean, it may be a big deal. Like I can see somebody now picking up their phone. Oh my God, I can't believe they break their phone. But I just look at it and go, okay, and read it and then just keep moving. I mean, it's like if I see something, I say something, but it don't disturb me if my phone beeps about a missing kid. So I don't see why they're so worried about putting these alerts out. Like it's almost like they don't want to disturb nobody. Well, you need to disturb people. This is important. It takes a village to raise a kid. So we need to know when something happens to a kid. Just facts.
Yeah. Well, and I think our rules here around the Amber Alerts are a lot stricter. You have to meet like 3 different criteria, and you have to meet all of them.
Yeah.
So I think they do need to look at changes. What are the odds that 2 children that young with alleged needs go missing at the exact same time? Whether they believe they were abducted or not, I think an Amber Alert still would have been valuable.
I say extreme danger should be the criteria for Amber Alert. Extreme danger. You're under 10. You could get hit by a car. You could get eaten by a bear. Somebody could kidnap you. I mean, that's extreme danger. If you're a teenager, maybe not, because you might just be a runaway staying at your friend's house and so on and so on. But when you're under the age of 10, you're in extreme danger.
Yeah.
Them alerts should go out to everybody. We got to make it, priority to find our children.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when it's two.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even one, but I mean, what are the odds that two go missing? But I mean, I'm still, I don't know.
It's probably
just the fact that there's
probably
been no
the same,
sighting.
It's probably the same odds as getting struck by lightning twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or bitten by a shark,
So
and then while you're running away from a shark, another shark bites you. I mean, it's probably those type of odds, to be honest. So
yeah, it's
well,
I want to say on behalf of everybody in Nova Scotia and especially in our county, thank you for giving this coverage, because
no problem.
There's been a lot of channels giving it coverage, and like my daughter, I have two kids myself, and my daughter's not much older than them. She's 8 and she is autistic.
Yeah.
And she's diagnosed, and I couldn't imagine.
I couldn't either. I know what you're saying.
I'm
a parent, and also I have a daughter.
I don't want to point fingers at anybody, but just the lack of the thing that got me is there's just no emotion from the parent.
Yeah.
And I've never been in that situation, so I don't know how I would react in that situation. But just the fact that the constable, when they were announcing they were scaling back the search the first time, he had more emotion in giving that statement than either of the parents did.
That's very telling.
That really bothered me. But Pictou County is dedicated to finding Jack and Lily. So thank you to everybody that is giving this coverage, because the more I know it's frustrating, but the more light that we keep on it, the more pressure we keep on it. We can't let it go cold. So just everybody keep talking about it, keep sharing their pictures. Like we just want, regardless of what happened, we just want them home, and we want them, if they're gone, we want them put to rest.
Yes.
We want justice for them. And so just thank you.
Just know that
really thank you.
Us here in the States, we're praying for you guys, and we got your back. We're with you 100%.
Well, we need it, and we appreciate it. Like it just, like our whole community feels like we're just, this doesn't happen here, and it's just it's hard.
Yes,
it's hard.
Well, big virtual
thank you.
Big virtual hugs to you, and you enjoy the rest of your day under the circumstances. And just remember, we're praying for you, and we got your back. And what happens in the dark will come to light. It's just a matter of time. You be good.
Yeah.
All right.
You too, and I appreciate everybody in the chat too, because it takes a village.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Like, the only thing about crying, if you cry, like she's upset, and I can understand it. It makes me cry. And I don't want to get up here on YouTube, start crying, clip channels and be showing it. But I'm getting soft in my old age. I just am. Like, sad people. And I know it's tragic. It ain't just like you said, you don't realize how bad it affects the whole community. Right? The whole community. When you see people that are more upset than the parents, right? Just because they have a kid, and what it makes them think is when you have a kid, I can tell you what it makes you think. Oh my God, I pray to God this never happens to my kid. And you start to think about it. And it's crushing. It's so hard on people, right? And that's the good thing. When something like this happens, we got to come together, right? You got to have that support. You got to have that backing. Awareness is the most important thing, because listen, a lot of people don't believe that this can happen to them. This will never happen to me, right? No, I'll tell you this. I've been around a lot of parents of missing kids in person, and they all thought that this can't happen to me. And it absolutely can happen to anybody. And it ain't even got to deal with kids. I mean, there's adults that go missing around here. Okay. I could go missing. You could go missing. People kidnap people. People get robbed at ATMs and kidnapped, right? it's a serious situation. And, you know, there's times where everybody has to bond together to get these answers. And on certain cases, it naturally just happens. And then in some cases get overlooked, you know, and I would think myself that Canada with 2 missing kids, okay, 2 missing kids would be huge news, right? And I understand in their province, it's big. All them people know about it. Like Prince Edward Island, I never knew that it even existed, but now I know the PEI or whatever. I mean, I know all those people know, but these are smaller communities, and you know, big cities have their own problems, but I would think that this would be nationwide. Okay. And thank God for, you know, YouTube, right? Because mainstream media here in the United States, they're not covering Jack and Lily. Just us YouTubers are. But here's the thing about that. And this is why I say spread awareness and like the video and share it. The more YouTubers that talk about it, the more these mainstream people see it. You think mainstream people don't watch us? Hell if they don't. Banfield watches his channel. Nancy Graves watches his channel. Vinnie Politan watches his channel. All these big people watch his channel. I didn't think they watched it until they started contacting me. Then I was like, holy shit, these people have been watching me the whole time. Right? So when you start getting hit up by these people, like I'm getting emails from Nancy, Banfield, you know, Vinny and Court TV, and you start to realize they watch this stuff. Okay. And when these things start to get like views and traction and trending, then they want to talk about it. Okay. So if you like this video, it puts it out to more eyes. And then other YouTubers go, well, damn, I want to cover this story. There's traction on it, right? For whatever reason, if it's they want to grow their channel or they want to actually bring awareness or news, then whatever reason, it don't really matter, even if it's a bad reason. Okay, say they want to click and a view, let them have it. Let them have that click and a view, because what it does is brings awareness. The more people that are into something, these bigger people see it. Okay, they see it, and then they want to talk about it. Okay, if you remember, there wasn't nobody talking about Sebastian Rogers in the beginning. Who was it? Me and JLR, right? That was it. Now look at it. It's on America's Most Wanted. It's been on Nancy. It's been on Court TV. It's been all over the place, right? Every internet person talking about it. It had to start somewhere, okay? Somehow. And that's how it started. And you guys, by now, y'all have seen that. Y'all have seen the power of YouTubers, okay? I can't even believe how powerful YouTube is. The shit these days. More people get information from YouTube, alternative media, than anywhere. Okay? And I'm just glad that I can help in some of this. Okay? And some of this bringing awareness. And if it's just me doing my part to boosting it to a bigger platform, so bigger platforms will talk about it, then I'm happy with that. I know I played my part. And other YouTubers need to think like this too. If I talk about it, then these people that watch me, these smaller channels, they're going to want to talk about it. And then everybody's talking about it. That's how a story gains traction. And the next thing you know, it's on Nancy. It's on Court TV. It's on Banfield. And then you're spreading stuff nationally, right? And we spread things on a global level, but a small global level, right? You know, I got almost 65,000 thanks to you guys that are subbing up there. That's tiny. That's, you know, it sounds like a lot, but in the aspect of YouTube, it's not that. I'm a tiny channel. So when I say small channels, shit, I'm talking about myself. I'm a small channel. There's some people out here that have millions of subs, right? And what is 65,000 if somebody has 1 million subs? It ain't nothing, right? It's a drop of water in a bucket. So, but when you got enough of us, these big people see it, and then they grab onto it and they run with it. And now we're talking millions and millions of people that know about what happened to these children. So just in case, like I want to say this before I get out of here with you guys, right? I'll be back later tonight. We're going to go over some of the search stuff, video from searchers and things like that later. But continue to share these kids' pictures, okay, on your Facebook, your Twitters, your Instagrams, wherever, because there is always a possibility of abduction. We don't want to lock in on the parents and 100% blame the parents. We're going to 95% blame, okay? We're going to leave every door open still because we don't have the information yet. Maybe as more information comes in, we can close some of these doors. But right now, let's leave them open. Okay, let's leave all options open. Even, I don't think the kids are in the woods, but we're not going to say they're not in the woods. That's just my opinion. There's a possibility these kids could be in the woods. There's a possibility that a kidnapper could have kidnapped these kids. You guys may be right. The parents may be involved in some form or manner of what happened to these children. But if they're not, and we're wrong, then we need to continue to share these pictures. These kids are out there. Kids do not just vanish, okay? They don't. We know that. Everybody in this chat room by now, you should know that. Something has happened, and we need those answers. Continue to put pressure on the Rcmp. I don't care how much they cry, how much they whine, okay? We want some transparency, and we want answers. This ain't a Nova Scotia thing anymore. This is a worldwide thing. There's people in this chat room from around the world watching right now what the Rcmp is doing. And we're going to make sure they continue to watch. And as they're doing it, it's going to grow, and it's going to grow, and it's going to be even more pressure. If you upset now about the pressure, you give it a couple weeks, there's going to be even more pressure. Find an answer for these children, and all that pressure goes away. Do your fucking job. That's all we ask. And then we will support you. We will love you. We will thank you. Okay? But right now, that's what we want from you. Dolly loves you guys. I will see y'all later this evening. Like I said, we're going to go over some of the search information. I'll take some more of your calls. We'll talk about any of the news and rumors that may possibly come out today. I don't know if that's the case. It seems to get a little slow, but we still need to keep it going. We need the pressure. We need the pressure. Love you guys. Peace.